Okay, hello. This is ACT video 301. This is the how-to reading video for the ACT. So we're not going to go through any specific passages on this video, but we will talk about how you want to go about doing the passages. ACT reading video 302 will actually do one together, so you can see everything we talk about in this video at work, but this is video 301. So here's the thing. The number one question that comes up again and again and again with the ACT reading is, hey, the passages aren't that difficult. There are 4 of them. The questions aren't difficult. There are 10 questions per passage. But I really struggle to get it all done with the time that's afforded to me. And that's a very legitimate complaint, because whereas the SAT tends to offer offers 13 minutes per passage, so 13 minutes to answer 10 to 11 questions. The ACT offers 8 minutes 45 seconds per passage, so 8.75 mins a passage. That's significantly less time. But as a result, the ACT demands much less from you. The ACT reading is very literal and very straightforward. That's if you were to ask me how to describe the ACT reading, it would be those 2 words. But here's the issue. The issue is that you have a passage of about maybe 5 paragraphs, and you're going to have about 4.5 minutes to read that passage. So 4.5 minutes reading. And then 4.5 minutes to answer questions. That's how I would break it down. I would try to keep that balance of 50-50. I find that gives you exactly what you need for each. So let's kind of go over this. Let's make a T-chart, and I encourage you to take your own notes here that correspond with mine. But there are 2 parts. The first 4.5 minutes is comprehension, kind of how do we go about the reading and how do we get the most out of our 4.5 minutes. And then the second half is how to choose answers. So I'll say answers. Okay, let's talk about the comprehension. So an important part of the comprehension is actually what types of questions you're going to be asked. So the types of questions you're going to be asked kind of fall into 3 categories. I'd say somewhere between 1/3 to 50% are what I would call word search questions. These questions are very literal. You're just looking to find where it is stated or implied in the passage. And you really do not need to do any analysis or higher level thinking. The frustrating thing actually is just finding where it said or where the thing you're looking for happened in the passage. Let me give you an example. I wrote down 2 examples of this type of question, and you'll know it immediately when I read it. What reason does Crane provide in passage A for botanists coming across ginkgo early in their training? It's asking something so specific. It wants to know, what reason does Crane give for this specific thing? There's no analysis there. None. It's just remembering where you read it. So an important part of your reading is actually going to be, and I'll put this below the questions, an important part of your reading is actually going to be understanding the structure of the passage. What happened in what paragraph? So you may not need to comprehend everything at a really high level in 4.5 minutes, but you have to know where to look back for certain things. So what was the main point of each paragraph, and how is each paragraph structured? So structure, I'll erase that, of passage, and main takeaway from each paragraph. Main point of each paragraph. Think of it this way, and I'll get back to the types of questions in just a second. But you're having a conversation with the author. The author can't answer your questions in real time. The dialogue is really only one way. The author knows something and wants to share it with you. Just like when you write an essay, you know something and you're structuring each paragraph, the first one usually with a thesis that explains what you want the reader to know or what your viewpoint is. And then each paragraph kind of supports that viewpoint or the general thing that you're building towards the reader knowing. So you're going to want to understand exactly how the person who wrote the passage is communicating to you in each paragraph. What's the structure and what's the main point in each paragraph? But do you need to understand everything at a higher level? No. Do you need to remember every single detail? No. You have 4.5 minutes. So there really is a balance between kind of knowing the structure, knowing the main point, but not necessarily taking it to like a higher level, analytical level. Why? Because about 50% of the questions, a little less, are going to be just these word search questions, where really you just need to remember where to find what you read. So what are the other types of questions you have? Well, the other types of questions you have are big picture main idea. And that goes into, if you know the main point of each paragraph and you understand the structure, you should be able to have a pretty good sense of why the author wrote the essay as a whole. So what the big picture main idea is. And these questions will say something like, what was the main point of the passage? Or the purpose of the author writing the passage was, okay. So that you should be able to get if you just get a good enough read of the passage. So then the third area of questions is, let's do this in green, are questions that are slightly analytical, but they're going to tell you exactly where to look. And these questions are a word most nearly means, where you just need to figure out how a word is being used in context. So they may say flexible, but flexible could mean stretchy. It could mean someone who's adaptable and willing to change plans, or it could even take on a different meaning depending on how the author is using it within context of the paragraph. So a word most nearly means you kind of have to read around and be analytical. And then the other type that you get is a phrase or a sentence most nearly means. And I actually wrote one of these down. The author's characterization of the Bloomsbury painters as artists who, quote, open themselves up to the current swirling around, end quote, lines 17 to 18, most nearly conveys that they were. So again, this requires you to kind of comprehend the intention of those words. So is it analytical? Yeah, it is a little analytical. A sentence or phrase most nearly means, but they're telling you where to look. So that's how you want to spend the 4.5 minutes on the reading. But here's where I can really add some value, is your approach to the answers. And this is actually identical to the approach on the SAT. And this is what I found to be true for a lot of standardized test reading. So it's just a general good principle of rules to follow. Rule number 1 is you have to say to yourself, do I know this for certain? Do I absolutely know this? Can I point to line numbers where this is stated or implied? So do I know this for certain? What the test will try to get you to do, and then you should be able to find it stated or implied on specific line numbers. What the test will try to get you to do on the attractive but wrong answers is to make assumptions, and you do not want to make any assumptions. It's only a fair test if the answer that you pick is directly supported. So let me give you an example of this. Here's a fake passage. I completely made it up. At the end of it, I want to know whether or not monkeys love to climb. So that's all you're thinking about is, do I know if monkeys love to climb? Okay, here's the passage. At a young age, monkeys start to climb. Not only do they climb all the time, but they climb with everyone. Their moms, dads, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, friends as well. Monkeys do climb all the time. They climb during the day, the night, even in the wee hours of the morning, monkeys climb. In fact, monkeys climb so much in order to build fundamental lifelong skills. Okay, end of passage. Take a moment to think. Do monkeys love to climb? If the answer said the passage supports the idea that, and answer A is monkeys love to climb, would you say yes or no? And it's okay to pause the video. I'm going to keep on going though. The answer is no. I never said a word about how monkeys felt about it, or the passage never said a word about how monkeys felt about it. Nothing, no hint of their emotional state was ever given. Yeah, you could argue, well, they do it all the time, so they must like it, or oh, they do it with their friends and family, so they probably like it because things I like, I do with my friends and family. But notice that that's an assumption. You're saying they probably like it, or it seems like they like it. There are plenty of things you do with your friends and family that you don't like. You just do them because you have to. Same with there are plenty of things you do all the time that you don't like. You just do them because you have to. All students go to school. They go to school with their friends. Family members drop them off at school. They learn essential skills in school, but not all students love school. To say that they did would be an assumption. However, what if I said in the passage, monkeys swing from branch to branch, grinning ear to ear? Now, is it stated or implied that they love it? And I would argue, yes, now it's implied. I've given you a clear indication of what their emotional state is. So the second rule fits very nicely into the first rule. In fact, they go hand in hand. The second rule is when you read an answer choice, 100% of the answer choice must be correct. So if one or two words are, you can't substantiate or support them, then it's wrong. It's not enough for an answer to be 80% correct. It has to be 100% correct. Here's an example. So that monkey passage again, pretend that answer choice A was, so we say, why do monkeys climb? And answer choice A is, monkeys climb in order to build essential skills. Yes, we definitely read that in the passage. And stamina. Well, passage never said anything about monkeys doing it for their endurance or fitness, so we can't select that answer choice. Just because the first part is correct, that's not enough. You need to be very careful about when you read through the answer choices of crossing off any parts of an answer choice that you can't substantiate, because that sours the whole answer choice. Third rule, really simple rule, make sure you answer exactly what the question wants. Answer exactly what the question wants. I can't tell you how many times someone says, I found support for answer choice B, but it doesn't actually answer what the question wants. So you want to read the questions carefully and answer exactly what question wants. The question wants, what's the main idea of the passage? The main idea is not that monkeys climb at night. The main idea is that monkeys climb in order to build fundamental lifelong skills. So that's a quick example of that. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful. I strongly encourage you to also watch video 302, where we actually apply these rules and go through a passage together. Anyway, good luck with your studies and come back for any more videos.